Okay, so welcome back to the second part. Today, we're going to be speaking about gender-sensitive pedagogy and strategies for inclusive STEM education. And uh, So, two words. It's all in the framework of the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 project. That is a Horizon project that lasts for 3 years, and we are currently in our third year. And this webinar is a part of our National Inspiration Hub that has kind of became an international inspiration hub thanks to your interest and thanks to collaboration, which is great. I'm really happy about this. I would love to start with this example, and I think it's kind of significant of everything that we're going to be speaking about. Why do we need gender-sensitive education and pedagogy? Why do we need to speak about this in general? And why do we need to do everything to valorize and appreciate female achievements in STEM and in any field, but specifically in STEM in this case? So this is very kind of fresh example. It happened in November 2025. And this lady, whose name is Julia Turner, posted on her profile in X her photo in the graduation gown and said, I passed my Viva exam. After 4 years of research, I successfully defended my thesis. You can call me doctor. So it's just a post again, I've done well. I worked for long. I became a PhD. I finished my PhD and my research. So right now, it's all done. I'm very happy. A man named Richard Cooper reposted it and wrote, just look at the degree on the chick. No man ever. So said no man ever. And this became a very big deal on X and also on other platforms, on other social media platforms. And I'm a sociologist as my profession. So I'm like, for me, these things become very significant because we can see a woman that is presenting her own achievement. And as we will see in a second, it's a very big achievement. And we also see a man who straight ahead starts to try to diminish it. Like if you see 18 hours before that, she posted it straight ahead, he needed to kind of devalorize and diminish her achievement. So I got before I will tell you what it led to, I got very curious and I wanted to know what Julia Turner did. And it turned out that she defended her thesis from the University of Oxford, New College of University of Oxford, thesis that is called The Evolution of Cooperation and Division in Labor of Labor in Insects. So this is something that she worked for, again, for 4 years at the University of Oxford, which is not obviously that easy to get to. And this is a great achievement. This is objectively a very, very impressive achievement. And at the same time, I was wondering, so Richard Cooper is judging her for writing a thesis. What did he do in his life? He wrote books he's a red pill influencer, or at least he's trying to be. He writes books about how to win with women in life and how to be an alpha male. And it's obviously not that impressive. I checked his Goodreads statistics. He has many fans, specific fans, again, also from Red Pill community, but obviously it's not something that like we can already understand that even from before, no? It just proves our point. But what he started basically, because of his ignorance, because of his willingness to, again, to diminish any achievement that a woman who he doesn't even know, just to spit on another woman's achievement, it started a huge wave of an amazing thing. So all over the world, women from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different fields of study, different ages, they started posting their photos with their degrees, saying the same phrase, look at the degree on that chick. So all over the world, really, as you can see. And this became just a huge celebration of female achievement in academia, in work, in everything. And Richard Cooper reacted to that, and he was I don't think he fully understood what happened because he was very upset that somebody turned his post into a trend, as you can see. So, what is gender-sensitive pedagogy? Why do we need to? Why are we paying so much attention to this? Gender-sensitive pedagogy, in a couple of words, is approach to teaching that recognizes and addresses specific needs of all students, regardless of gender, in order to ensure equitable opportunities for teaching, for learning and participation. And this is the key word here. So we are speaking about being attentive to all students. Excuse me again. The key word here is equitable. What is equity? We speak about equality, and especially in English, it's kind of like seem to be very similar topics, very similar terms, and some people get a little bit confused in many situations. So equality is a great concept, but it means treating everyone the same by giving them the same resources and opportunities. So if we're all going to be reading, I don't know, from this book, everybody is reading exactly from this book. If we're all reading it in Italian, everybody is going to be reading in Italian. Equity, in the same time, means giving people the resources and supports they need based on their individual circumstances in order to reach equal outcome. So we're speaking still about equality, but we're speaking about much more nuanced, much more empathetic, and much more humane approach to this, because we don't, like, as you can see on the illustration, I don't know if you can, okay, maybe like this is better. We don't need all to have the same ladder in the same place. We need to have things where like taller ladder and maybe closer to the tree in order to for person in a different circumstance to also succeed and to reach the equal outcome. So this is going to be the main, like the basis of everything we're going to be speaking about. We don't try to find one size fit all. We try to find multiple sizes that fits everyone. So everybody needs to have their own approach tailored to them. Why it matters? Why do we again speak about this so much? First of all, as we just discovered, STEM fields remain male-dominated. And in many cases, again, if we speak about motherhood penalties, this is something that I also wanted to say, that here is where equity approach is very important. You cannot put male and female colleagues in the same situation, like kind of who have different circumstances in their lives, but to demand from them, giving them the same things and demanding the same outcomes from them, because you need to, again, look in depth into their personal circumstances. So STEM remains male-dominated field overall, especially in the higher levels. Formal education can often unintentionally or sometimes intentionally support gender bias. And we're going to be speaking a lot about this right now. Gender-sensitive teaching increases, obviously, participation of all students, confidence of the students, and improves learning outcomes for everyone. Because again, if the whole class is thriving, everyone is thriving as well. And it supports sustainable development goals, specifically number 4, inclusive and equitable quality education, and 5, gender equality. So what can be the examples of this gender bias in classroom, which I mentioned? First of all, and people speak about this quite a lot, there is this tendency that can be again conscious and subconscious as a bias. Teachers tend to call male students more often, call them to answer, and wait longer for their responses. So they have more time to think, more time to come up with an answer, more time even to calm down sometimes, because it's also important. Male students receive more eye contact from teachers, more attribution, and high order questions. So they're normally asked something important. Female students are interrupted more frequently, more rushed. So they have less time to think, they have less time to calm down, they have less time to come up with an answer. And they're assigned more of kind of assistance role. So take notes, write on the flip chart, make a presentation because you're more creative and whatever. But they don't have the same access to leadership roles. So if you're working in groups, they have less possibility to become the leader of that group. Which are the principles of gender-sensitive pedagogy? First of all, power sharing between teachers and learners, and this I touched upon a little bit before. We speak about this in majority of cases in many different fields, that again, it's also equity approach to some way in this sense, because we need to understand, we don't need to only impose something on the students. We also need to understand their circumstances. We need to understand their learning possibilities and learning styles, preferred learning styles. And so the power is also to them. So they also have the power and agency in the study process. We need to ensure equal participation and collaboration. Here it's important that it's equal, because everybody should have possibility to try. Not everybody needs to be a leader, not everybody needs to be an assistant. Obviously, it's not, neither of these positions are for everyone. And it's normal, because again, it's a very personal question. However, everybody should have a possibility to try to be a leader of the group. Everyone should have a try to be an assistant or maybe care giving role or something like that, in order to understand what are their preferences. We need to respect diverse experiences. Again, it all comes from individuality and individual needs. And we need to challenge stereotypes and norms as much as we can. Both conscious and subconscious, both the ones that we bring with ourselves, the students bring with ourselves, and also the ones that are provided by materials. Excuse me. So when we speak about questions, in case of this is like a small checklist, small guidelines for educators. We're going to be publishing them on the project website in a bit, but it's a small checklist that can be useful. So first of all, when we speak about questions, we need to ensure equal turns, so everybody has possibility to speak up. We need to avoid bias, again, with which questions we ask, how we ask, whom we ask, etc. We need to allow time for more timid students to get more confident, to, again, maybe calm down, maybe come up with an answer, maybe to think a little bit more, etc. Group work, we need to ensure gender mixed teams. We need to rotate leadership roles. However, in some cases, for example, we are currently implementing a so-called talent nurturing program here in Palermo as well, in the framework of Streamit. And it's a program for schoolgirls, high school girls, who are interested in STEM. And so we're doing many interesting activities with them in order to present them to various different activities that can be from different STEM fields. Using art, again, this is the STEAM approach. So for example, we did a course with them, like kind of a meeting with them, where they were making lip balms, but they needed to do, again, it was kind of like the art approach, so they get to do something by themselves, choose essential oils, etc. But before that, they needed to do all the chemical calculations for how much of each ingredient they need to put. The same thing, they made soap. The same time, they did also other activities. So we're trying to always influence it. But this group is specifically only female. Because in this case, when we wanted to speak with girls, we wanted to ensure that there is no, not even a question of competition or ranking or anything like that. No, so we wanted to eliminate this part from specifically this group. So sometimes it also makes sense to have different groups, but in the mixed classrooms, it's better to opt for gender mixed teams. Language should be using gender neutral terms, so firefighter, chairperson, etc. Again, I don't know, it's very important from linguistical point of view, and of course it depends on each language specifically. In some cases, one of our partners, they said that even firefighter will not work in their language, that it's better to say person that fights fire. It depends, again, specifically on the context here. There cannot be one size fits all. Materials, Specifically, books and handouts need to show people of all genders and diverse roles. And we are going to be able to show you some examples of when it's not done. And feedback needs to provide encouragement and also help build confidence in students. When we're planning lessons through a gender-sensitive lens, first of all, any gender-responsive lesson plan should include, first of all, learning materials free of stereotypes. Unfortunately, in some cases, again, for questions of budget, for questions of financing, etc., in some schools and some educational facilities, institutions, the materials are a little bit outdated and they can still represent this gender stereotypes. However, as you will see in a bit, there are also many currently printed books that still reinforce these stereotypes just because this is how it's been. So we need to evaluate everything before we plan lessons. Activities need to suit all learning styles, and this again is very important. This is the equity approach. This is also STEAM approach. So we need to allow also for students who maybe are not that good, like maybe for them written instructions are not working as well as for some other students. Maybe they need more explanation, etc. Classroom arrangements for as much as it's possible should support equal participation. It's not always doable, but we should aim for that. And feedback and assessment should recognize contribution and not gender of the student. So here is one of the examples. As you can see, it's an older book, obviously. However, here on one side it shows women, and another side it shows men. And women are elevator operators, typists, waitress, checker. So it's all kind of like support, assistants, and lower impact jobs, let's say. Some of these jobs obviously don't exist anymore because it was even that they were kind of, if we speak about especially elevator operator, it was something that was very specific probably to the time. But then men are policemen, firemen, salesmen, etc. So we need to, every time we look at the textbooks and handouts, we need to ask ourselves, are all gender represented equally? And how they're represented? Are these images stereotypical or not? Can we avoid maybe putting, to explain who's a doctor, who's a nurse, maybe doctor should not always be a man and nurse should not always be a woman. Again, it's gender neutral terms already, in English at least, and we need to show people of different genders and different professions. Does the text include gender inclusive language? So can we, again, say it without saying fireman? Can we say firefighter because there are so many female firefighters, etc.? Do activities engage all learning styles and all genders? Again, here, as you can see, it's an Italian book, and it's so much more current, and this is why it's so sad. Because I took this example from a UNESCO report on exactly on gender educational materials, I think it was called. But anyways, it's basically the same thing, but it's much more new. So it was already used as an anti-example, but it's a newer book. So on one side, you can see people of professions, people who have professions, they're all men. And it says that it's a firefighter, dentist, postman, farmer, kind of like person who works in the office, etc., teacher, commercial, like the tradesperson, etc. And on the other side, we see women. So women appear here, but it's not grown-up women, it's girls who play with dolls and etc. So we don't see any representation of women in general in the profession, in the working profession. And it's, for example, some of these words in Italian, this is maybe just a couple of cents from me, some of these words are completely gender neutral also in Italian. For example, dentist, teacher, they can be used in various ways. So it was just a choice to put all of them, to make all of them men. And here we speak about hidden curriculum. That can be, again, it's also all about bias, but it can be both conscious and unconscious. However, it's usually like all of these unspoken behaviors, norms, expectations that are transmitted through schooling. And one of the examples, for example, I was giving it other time, that when we were graduating from high school in my times, our kind of like the teacher from our class, not the one who was in charge of us, she was telling us, she was the teacher of mathematics, so algebra, geometry, and she was saying that, okay, girls, you can kind of like, I don't expect you that you will choose my exam, like exam in math for the final exam. But boys, I expect that you will do that. Why? So this was some of this unspoken norm that kind of was that she grew up with as professional with. So it's kind of like that the boys for sure need to do math and girls can do whatever they want. You can come, you cannot come, like I have no expectations for you. Which is like a very bad thing to do because there were so many girls who were doing very well in math in our class and they actually proceeded to do a career in math. But yeah, there were no expectations for them and very high expectations for boys. And this is something that hurts both boys and girls. Like we need to be clear about that. It's doing something that is bad for everyone because it eliminates your choice by heightening or lowering your expectations of students solely based on genders, not on their personal capacities, interests, etc. So, for example, here, as you say, that boys are often encouraged to lead and girls to assist. It's again the same thing. So maybe the boy will going to be the leader of the group and the girl was going to take notes. And masculine fields such as engineering, but then also police work, being a doctor, etc., portrayed as for men. When we're applying gender-sensitive pedagogy in STEM, what we need to do? First of all, we need to present female and male role models in STEM careers. And again, I don't know about you, but I think that in education, traditionally, we only speak about male examples. And it's also obviously very significant of the like centuries of when women were not allowed to study or not allowed to publish their research and their research was stolen by men who were working with them, etc. But we need to really work on that, and this is something that you need to kind of do a deeper research on, but it's so beneficial because there were female scientists and female role models since the times of ancient Greece, for example, since the time of the beginning of knowledge, the beginning of science, and they are there and there is more information about them right now. So we need to really capitalize on that, valorize them and use them in order to motivate new generations. We need to balance competition and collaboration because for many students, only one is not working. Or for many, it will. For many thrive only in competition. Many thrive only in collaboration. Majority will be probably somewhere in between. But we need to balance this in order to accommodate for everyone. We need to offer real-world projects that allow equal expression and leadership. And real-world projects are also one of the basis of STEAM approach. So STEAM approach is when we teach STEM disciplines through application of arts or social, like humanitarian sciences, social sciences. And here it's this application of real world projects is very, very important because I often speak about different examples of women girls who actually changed the world when they were still in high school. For example, 𝗂𝗓𝗄 𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗃, I was speaking about her yesterday in another workshop. She's an inventor. She's now around 25 years old, I think not more. But even before she graduated from high school, when she was 15, because her family is half Polish, half from Philippines, but she grew up in Canada. One of her friends in Philippines told her that she is not managing to do well in school because she cannot study in the evening because they have no light. There is an issue with the power outages, and so she cannot study, so that's why she failed an exam in school. And Anne became so mesmerized by this example that they're in such, like, they're kind of, they're friends. She passes like, a lot of time in Philippines with her family, and they're in such drastically different conditions in life. So she decided that she will invent a source of light that doesn't need batteries. And she invented it's called hollow torchlight, something like that. You can check it. I don't remember exactly right now, but it's a torch that works without batteries, without any other power source. You take it in your hand, and the heat of the body powers the torch. So this was something that it never had any analogy. It was something that was first. She became like she received a lot of awards. She spoke in 3 TED Talks. She presented it in Jimmy Fallon's show, etc. It was all before she finished high school. But it was a real world project, real world example that gave her an opportunity to find her way. And she's continuing in this stage. And there are many examples like that. So this is where many students start to thrive when they see that they can do a real change for real people. And we also need to encourage girls to explore non-traditional roles, but girls and boys, because girls need to try and, again, aim higher and try the leadership positions and think about them, that they belong there also. It's also a possibility for them. And boys should also try to engage in caregiver roles, in assistant roles, etc., because they might thrive there. We will never know if we will not try. Small checklist for educators to ask yourself whether I treat all students the same way, in the way of how much attention I give them, etc. Who gets more attention, eye contact and reinforcement from me? Are stereotypes avoided in my examples and visuals? Because many teachers prepare their own examples and visuals and handouts. It's very important that that we fight this unconscious bias, we fight these biases in all the materials. And we acknowledge them, we understand that they exist. And is participation in groups and leadership positions balanced across genders? Gender-sensitive teaching is not extra work. It's not. Even if it sometimes might feel like that, but it's not. It's a different approach that can benefit everyone. It improves learning outcomes, it builds confidence and the sense of belonging. And this is something that we speak a lot about in this project, because in some cases, this is what is missing. This is what is not allowing students to proceed. This is something that causes this pipeline with female talent, with female motivation and inspiration to start leaking, because there's this sense of belonging that is lacking. Expands career aspirations for all genders, so everyone can aspire to be anything, anyone. It creates fair and empowering classrooms, and this is when everyone benefits. And otherwise, I want to make this small example. I don't know if somebody ever saw this, but I usually ask, what do these women have in common? Maybe somebody knows. If somebody knows, you can answer. But it's okay if you don't. It's kind of a niche example. So what these women have in common? These women were all stated, announced as speakers in DevTernity Tech Conference 2023. So they were all presented there as on the website of the conference to say that they are going to be speaking in this conference. And if you can see here, there is also another name, Julia Kircina. This name we can also remember. It says that she's a tech influencer at Instagram. We will return to her later. But for example, Anna Boyko, staff engineer at Coinbase, core contributor in Ethereum. This was the list of the speakers, and normally these conferences, they cost quite a lot of money. So people evaluate based on the level of speakers. They evaluate whether they're going to participate or not. This is privately organized tech conference, obviously, and this is the first thing that they have in common. And the second thing that they have in common is that none of them actually exists. They're all generated by AI. Why? Because this person who you can see on the right on the screen, he's, I believe, Latvian of Russian origin. He is the organizer of this conference. And He's the organizer of this conference, and he got into he got a bit of backlash when people saw the list of speakers. There were no women, and many people who said that they would love to participate, they said, but can we have a little bit of diversity? Can we have some women in tech also to listen to them and their stories, etc.? Because again, people who want to participate, they're also women, and there are many, many women in tech, and it's not only right now, it's kind of more promoted, not only right now, but in general, it was kind of promoted more as a male field, but now there are so many women in tech. And for them, it was also important, which was not important for the organizer. So what he did, he created these profiles, and people later even found the original pictures from which he generated their faces, and how it all came out to life. There is this kind of tech blogger. His last name is Orosz. I think he's Hungarian, and he saw this profile of Anna Boyko, and he said, "But how can it be that Coinbase, as far as I understand, these two businesses, they're both kind of Bitcoin, like crypto something." Startups, but one of them is more like big, established for many years, very famous, etc. However, another one is more of a startup that just appeared. Like, how can she be a staff engineer in one place and core contributor in another one? He went to speak to people who he knew at Coinbase, and they said, we never heard about her. He went to check on her online, and he didn't find anything that is that like any information on her, like not social media profiles, no articles, no interviews, no nothing. And if you honestly, because it was 2 years ago, I believe that even if you look at her photo right now, you can kind of tell that it's AI. Like right now, I mean, maybe 2 years ago it was not, or 3 years ago already, it was not as obvious, but we are now in this stage of, people call it AI panic. Like even 3 years ago, we were believing in every video that we were seeing because it was a video. At this stage in our lives, we don't believe any video that we see because we believe that it can be AI. In this case, I think it's kind of even a little bit obvious because her face is a little bit too symmetric. And normally, one of the things that give it away is when you see that something is not like there is something that you can see that something is not okay in this video, in this photo, but you cannot understand what exactly. So they created how the organizer explained the situation. He said that he invited two female panelists, Kristen Howard from Amazon Web Services and Julia Kirsina, the one that I spoke to you about before. But they both withdrew from the conference at the same time, more or less. And so he was forced to create demo personas with the random titles, and in order to to have someone on the speaker list. So idea was probably that he wants to present like this is how he sells tickets, promising diversity, and then in the last moment they cannot participate, and some of his male friends will take the place. And obviously, why it's not okay? Because for some reason, like we can understand why it's not okay, but for some reason, for this person, instead of going out of your friend group of tech bros, going out and finding women in tech who are so many, like literally, even me, I'm not a woman in tech. I just know, I think at least 20 people I will find. I know at least 20 women who are in tech. And so for him, it was easier to invent women than to actually search for women or to open call or to open a call for participants, for speakers, etc. Because he's used to working through, like again, if you used to the fact that this is our like male club where we do our male things, and I have my friends and I invite them and they invite me, and we don't need any diversity because who's interested in what women have to say? This is what it comes to. And as I said, we need to remember this name of Julia Kirsina because she is supposedly tech influencer. So she has an Instagram. It's called Coding Unicorn, and it has around 100,000 subscribers. But after that, after all of this, it also kind of came to light that most probably she doesn't exist, and most probably she's also his. It's basically him blogging in her name, just generating photos of this woman. And if you go to her Instagram, it's also kind of obvious a little bit because she stopped posting around 2023 as well. And if you look through her photos, you can also see that her face is always a little bit different. It's always like there is some inconsistencies in how she looks. And yeah, so probably it was also like one of the most important, most famous, or maybe even the most famous coding influencer is also fake, that was created by a man, just because they understood that he understood that in some cases it's probably beneficial to have a female face on it. And that's it. I believe that his reputation suffered quite a lot, but on the other hand, there were no other repercussions. So I'm pretty sure that in a couple of years he will start his conference again, and I think it's not going to be such a big deal, especially in the view of certain people in certain groups. But we are working on kind of making sure that this will not happen. This is it. This is everything that I wanted to tell you today. Thank you so much for your interest and your attention. If you're interested in the project, you can scan this QR code